Chapter 7. They finally arrived at the train station safely. The woman had not woken up, but she was natural, because the plants she had been given were very powerful. What they were clear about was that they had to take her with them, because otherwise the Brahmins would catch her again. When the time of departure arrived, Fogg paid the guide the agreed-upon money. "You have been a great guide and brave travel companion. That's why, if you want, I'll give you the elephant," Phileas said very confidently. "But that elephant is worth a lot." The guide responded very excitedly. "Accept it, I am still indebted to you for your valuable help." The guide was happy and walked away with a big elephant from him towards the forest. At that moment the train began to move forward and the three passengers breathed a sigh of relief. During the trip Aouda woke up. He didn't understand what was happening or what he was doing on a train with three strangers. Then they told her what happened and she was very grateful to them. Phileas decided to take her to Hong Kong, where she said she had a relative who could take care of her. Later the train stopped at the Benares station, where Frances was to stay. There she said goodbye with great sadness for not being able to accompany them anymore and wished her three new friends a successful trip. The next morning the train arrived at Calcutta. The ship to Hong Kong left in the afternoon, so everything was going very well according to Phileas' plans. When we got off at the station, a police officer approached. "Are you Mr. Phileas Fogg?" "Yes, it's me." "Is he your servant?" asked the man, referring to Passepartout. "Yes. I need you to accompany me, please." The three followed the policeman. Fogg was very calm, but Passepartout seemed to be confused. Then they were put into a carriage and neither spoke the entire way. When they arrived at the police station they were taken to a cell. "The trial is at 8 o'clock, said the policeman, who closed the gate and left. "It's not possible, they haven't caught us," Passepartout said, very scared. "They have been imprisoned for saving me." "This is my fault," Aouda responded, on the verge of crying. "No need to worry. The laws of England will not allow us to be imprisoned for saving a woman who was going to be unjustly sacrificed," he said. Fogg very calm. "Aouda, I am not going to abandon you for any reason. But our ship leaves at 3 in the morning, continued Passepartout. "Before 3 we will be on the boat. I have everything calculated," Fogg said. At 8 o'clock the policeman returned and took them before the judge, who told them, "We have been looking for them for 2 days. Let those who accuse them pass." At that moment they entered. 3 priests. Latch. He paled. It was certain that they would want to take Aouda away again. "These men say that you have interrupted their religious act." "That's true?" "Yes, I confess it," he responded. Phileas very calm. "He confesses it," said some of those present, very surprised. "But they haven't told him that they wanted to sacrifice this woman," shout. Very angry doorknob. The priests looked at him without understanding why he said that. "How did he say? Who did they want to sacrifice in Bombay?" asked the judge, even more confused. "Bombay," Passepartout said, without understanding what was happening. "Yes, don't act like you don't know." "The proof is these horrible shoes," said one of the priests, very angry. "My shoes!" cried Passepartout, laughing. Now they understood everything. They were there because of the servant's fight when he entered the temple with shoes and hit the priests who had attacked him. All this had been planned by Fix, who during the trial was hidden so as not to be discovered by travelers. He was sure that now they would imprison Passepartout and that was going to cause him to delay enough for it to reach Calcutta the arrest warrant for Phileas. Now that they have confessed, the sentence for this man is to stay in jail for 15 days and a payment of £300. And for Mr. Phileas Fogg, 8 days and £150, for being the responsible master of this young man, said the judge, who stood up ready to leave. Fix was happy for his victory. In the hiding place he jumped and laughed softly. He thought that he really was a very talented detective and this achievement proved it. "I ask permission to pay and serve the sentences later," Fogg said very confidently. "He has the right to do so," the judge responded, a little annoyed at having to return to his place. This caused Fix to completely paralyze. He no longer jumped, he stopped laughing and just glared at his thief. That move by Phileas was not expected. Then Fogg paid £2,000 for both of them and they left the place, but not before Passepartout, very angry, snatched his shoes from one of the priests. Then they took a carriage and went to the port to catch their next ship. Fix recovered and went after them. He only thought about the amount of money Phileas was now spending and that he was surely part of what he had stolen. The person who caught the thief would be given a part of what was recovered as a reward, but at this rate there would be nothing left. This made him increasingly angry and he was willing to follow Fogg to the end of the world if necessary. Chapter 8. During the trip to Hong Kong, Phileas and Aouda became closer friends, as she greatly admired the intelligence and bravery of the man who would now take her to her safe and sound family member. On the other hand, Fix had managed to send a telegram to request that the order be now sent to Hong Kong. After that he hastily boarded the same ship as our travelers. At first he tried not to be seen, but later it was necessary to meet Passepartout again, as he needed his help to catch Phileas, since if he managed to leave Hong Kong for America it would be more difficult to capture him, since the laws of England were of no use in United States. On the other hand, he was trying to understand who this beautiful woman named Aouda. Finally he met Passepartout, who was very surprised to see Fix again. As the servant talked a lot, he told him about his adventures in rescuing Aouda and what happened in Calcutta. Now the detective was aware of everything and that could be useful in catching Fogg. Passepartout was beginning to suspect the strange encounters with Fix. At each place they reached the man had told him that he would stay, but then he would need him at the next ship or city and that was already too much of a coincidence. Then he thought he discovered the mystery. He thought that this man was a spy sent by the men from the Royal Club with whom Phileas had bet. That must be. They want to check that Fogg complies with the trip around the world, so they sent Fix to make sure he doesn't cheat. How dare they? My master is an honest man and there is no reason to distrust his word, he thought. Passepartout very sure of his discovery. But I won't say anything to my master so as not to worry him. Days later Fix spoke to the servant again to obtain more information. Don't you think it's very strange that his master wants to go around the world? Of course not, do you believe it? Strange, Mr. Fix. I don't think I'll make it, said Fix, thinking of arresting Fogg very soon. Liar, answered Passepartout, laughing, for he still thought that Fix's wish was that Phileas should not win the bet. That response left the detective worried, because he believed that he had been discovered. While Passepartout wanted Fix to confess to being a spy for the Royal Club. I believe that you will not stay in Hong Kong and follow us to America. Follow them? No, of course not, although it's true that I might also go to America, the detective responded very nervously. At the end of the conversation Fix returned to his cabin without knowing what to do, because the servant already suspected something. The next day the sky darkened with clouds that threatened to turn into a storm. The wind was blowing very strong and the sea was very rough. This caused the ship to slow down and they were 20 hours late. That would make them miss the next ship, but Phileas remained calm. It seemed as if this storm was also within his travel schedule. On the other hand, this made Fix happy, as it would give him more time for the order to reach Hong Kong. Passepartout, on the other hand, was furious, for he did not want his master to lose the bet for any reason. Finally they reached their destination and without delay Phileas asked if his ship had left yet. The man in charge of the schedules responded that he would leave until the next day, since he had had a problem with one of his machines and was late. This gave them a lot of peace of mind, because if they lost it they would have to wait 5 days until the next one left. Now they had time to carry Aouda with his relative in the city. When they arrived at the place where they would give them information, they were told that he no longer lived there, since he had become rich and traveled to Holland. This saddened the woman, but then Phileas told her that he would take her with him on her trip around the world and that when she returned to England after winning the bet she would accompany her to Holland. Aouda was saddened by Fogg's help, but he had already become her friend and she gladly agreed to spend more time with Phileas. Passepartout later met Fix, who was returning to the port very upset to learn that the arrest warrant had not yet reached Hong Kong either. "Well, sir, will you accompany us to America?" Passepartout asked, laughing. "Yes," he answered nervously. "Very good," he scoffed. "I knew he wasn't going to leave us." They both got on the boat to reserve the cabins they needed for the trip. On their way down, a man told them that the Carnatic was ready to leave that night. That pleased Passepartout, who wanted to go immediately to tell his master about him. Fix was even more angry, because now it would be difficult to catch his thief in America. Then he had a wicked idea. His criminal wouldn't escape if he didn't take that ship, so before Passepartout went to break the news to Fogg, he invited him for a drink to celebrate. Even though the servant had little time, he accepted. Both? They drank too much and then Fix told Passepartout the truth. The servant understood that he was not a spy, but a detective who believed that his master was a bank robber. On the other hand, Fix asked him to help him, but Passepartout felt offended, because he would never betray his master, but above all, he denied that Fogg was a criminal, so he did not agree to help him. Fix asked him not to say anything, but at that moment the servant fell completely asleep at the table. This made the detective happy, because now Phileas would lose his ship for not having received the news, so Fix left the innocent man abandoned. Latch.